Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 370Z. So, as always, we're going to do a quick walk around on the 370Z, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. A huge shout out and thank you to Tim Daly Nissan here in Murray, Utah for providing us with this 370Z. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get into the video. Under the hood here, we have a naturally aspirated 3.7 liter V6 that goes through a 7-speed automatic transmission. In terms of fuel economy, it's 19 around town and 26 on the highway, with power outputs being 332 horsepower and then 270 foot-pounds of torque. Now let's go over things on the front end of the 370Z here. So they haven't changed much with the headlights, but they are projector bulbs. You can see just how bright those are, and then we do get these cool little like LED accent lights just down below, which I think definitely makes it look just a little bit more modern. But other than that, they keep things super simple on the front end of the car. It still has that kind of like simple aggressive look, and I love how they've widened the front on those two sides. Definitely makes it look a lot more aesthetically pleasing. So on the front here, we've got two 45mm tires. The rear, it is two 75mm tires. And in terms of the rim setup, 19-inch rims, 19-inch rims. And they do this really cool design on it. So you've got kind of like the little black accenting behind the silver. And then you can see the brake calipers finished in red, which obviously matches the exterior paint color on this. Get the little Z logo there on the side. I love how the door handle looks. It's kind of very unique. And then as I step back here, you guys can get kind of like a full view of the 370Z from the side. Here is our key fob for the 370Z. You got the Z logo at the top. You have your lock, unlock, and then the horn. That's it. Really simple key fob. But if we unlock the car, we've got the trunk release. I know you guys are looking at this and you're like, wait, there is no trunk release. Well, the button's just right here above the license plate. So press that, pops that open, and then you can open it up, and it's a hatch actually, which is pretty interesting. Now, the space back here is pretty decent in terms of how far back it goes. It's just really shallow from a storage space perspective, but you do get this nice kind of like floor mat carpeting, and we pick it up just right over here. So you can see the bottom just below that. But yeah, like I said, it goes back far enough. It's just pretty shallow, and then it is cool that they give you a little cargo cover in the back. Now let's finish things up in the rear here. So we've got the spoiler in the back right there, and then the distinctive taillights with the Z cars. Now finally, we do have a dual outlet exhaust at the bottom there, and I like the little light in the middle. It's a nice little touch. And then finally, here's just your 3/4 angle before we pop inside. Now at first glance, it looks like this is just like an old school door handle with nothing to it. However, I do have keyless entry, so you can see that would unlock it, and then I can press it again and that will lock it. So unlocking the door, we can look at the door panel here for the front, and well, the only door panel. So it's actually pretty cool. They've got this like softer touch up here. I actually like this door handle, just how it looks. All of your regular controls for the window. And then the nice part is they have added this Alcantara insert on this little part with some stitching. So where you rest your arm, it's very well padded and just has a nice little feel to it. Now here are the seats in the 370Z. You can see they're very nicely bolstered. It's a mix between the leather, and then you got this cloth insert in the center of it. Now, the adjustments are interesting. So you have these adjustments on the side of the seat, and you're like, well, how do I adjust it backwards and forwards? So then you reach under here and you go, there's nothing there. Well, that's because the seat adjustments are actually over in this little area. So it is power for those adjustments, but they're on the, well, I'm gonna call it the wrong side of the seat. Anyways, there is your pedal layout, which they actually did a pretty good job on the aesthetics for the pedals themselves. And then you got your stability control button right over here. And then finally, I just want to show you guys the back of the paddles, because when we pop inside, you won't be able to see those, but yeah, they're pretty cool. So we are gonna pop in here, and step in height, it's actually pretty easy to get into. Yes, it is lower to the ground. It is a sports car, but it's not too bad. And then once we have popped in, all you have to do is put your foot on the brake, push the push start. This one is the automatic, like I said, so yeah, no clutch. Here is the steering wheel in the 370Z. I like how they've done the Z logo there in the center. Now you've got a couple controls here on the side for the cruise control. On the other side, you got this stuff for the radio, volume, and then your like phone controls and Bluetooth. There's this really nice contrasted stitching on it. And then the feel of the steering wheel, they've done this perforated leather, so it's definitely grippier. The top is a little bit smoother, but where you're actually gonna grab is perforated leather, so obviously it's gonna make it so your hands don't slide around as much. And then you get your regular stock for the lights, and then your stock for the windshield wipers. And notice I'm turning the steering wheel, but the paddles aren't turning with it, which is Definitely super unique. It's just like what is on the GTR actually, so this kind of makes this like a mini GTR in a sense, just from the paddle shifters. Okay, here are our gauge clusters, and you've got that first one that just gives you kind of like information on the vehicle, like the gas telling me that I have 34 miles of range left. You've got right in the center the tachometer, which obviously is most important in a sports car. Then you got the speed off to the side, which that's not nearly as important. And yeah, overall, definitely a little bit more old school on the gauges, but if you like old school gauges, this car's for you. Now, things get pretty interesting with the infotainment system here. It's a little touchscreen, but then you do see this little analog kind of like control pad just below on the infotainment system. Other than that, I mean, it's relatively easy to use. Again, it's a little bit more on the old school size of things, and then also on the old school like style of things. So if you like things a little bit, again, more old school, then this is definitely gonna be the touchscreen for you. Now, this is the coolest part actually. When I pop into reverse, I get a backup camera there. And you're like, well, I hate backup cameras and touchscreens. Well, that's okay, because you get a backup camera up here too. I've never seen this before, but you have two different backup cameras. You get one in the infotainment system and then one in the mirror. I think that they maybe forgot that they put one up here. I bet this is the original backup camera. And then they added this one, because this one's got trajectory lines, so it looks like this one's been updated more recently, whereas that one doesn't. So, you get two backup cameras. Below the controls here, we have more controls, and that is for the radio. Then you got your climate controls. There's a little bit of stitching here, some soft touch. It's also throughout here just to make the interior look a little bit nicer. This is my favorite part, well, kind of my favorite part. But anyways, just a shifter. You've got your little manual shift mode for that 7-speed automatic. You got the bump stick, and then you have the paddle shifters. The reason why this area is my favorite part is the hazard light button is just randomly right there. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. And then there's a blank button over here, which does absolutely nothing. We've got our heated seat controls right here, and then this is for the rear hatch. Got one cup holder, so you've got to fight over the cup holder with the passenger. Just kidding. You actually get one in the door panel there too, so you're good on that. Now, this center console's weird. It opens up in two parts. I don't know why, but it does that. There is some charging stations right below it, and then there is some extra storage space just behind the seats. So there's actually a good amount of storage space in the Z car. And then if we open up the glove box, just a regular glove box with the owner's manuals, but it's kind of on the small side. But again, this is a small car, so it all adds up. Quickly to go over things up top, you get lights, black headliner, and in terms of head space itself, they actually help out because they kind of raise this part compared to the middle of it, so it does make for a little bit more headroom, which is a nice little touch. Before we go over pricing, I just want to show one more weird thing, and it's these little gauges. So you have this one that actually shows the time. Sorry, the lighting's horrible, but that's a little clock. That shows you the battery voltage, and that one shows you the engine temperature. It's just, I don't know, it's random. But anyways, let's talk about pricing here in the 370Z. So this particular 370Z, with all of the features it has, stickers for about $41,000 before any type of market adjustment. That all being said though, let's take this 370Z out and see how it drives. Well, we are about to set off here in the 370Z, and I'm going to try something a little bit different with the camera angles here. I'm going to make a dedicated video on my second channel to this, so I guess we'll just initially set off here in the 370Z. So initially setting off here in the 370Z, I'm going to talk about the road noise and the ride quality first and foremost. On terms of the road noise aspect of it, you hear quite a lot. Like, this definitely has that old school sports car feel to it. I can hear tons of noise from the tires. In terms of the wind noise, it's pretty minimal, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of noise from the tires. And when you get on it just even a little bit, you can hear quite a bit from the exhaust. And for a V6, it sounds really good actually. But yeah, other than that, definitely a sports car. From a ride quality standpoint, I'm very pleasantly surprised. It rides exceptionally smooth. It is a sports car, right? But it doesn't have that harshness that most sports cars have. It has this nice, smooth ride quality to it. So you actually could daily this just from a ride quality standpoint. So I've taken it around a couple corners, and I want to talk about the steering. It's extremely direct. You put any little bit of input and the car just pretty much goes instantly from a steering standpoint. And I don't know what this Subaru is doing. I hope you guys saw that. Like they went off to the side of the road and then back on. So I don't think they even know what they're doing. But regardless of that, yeah, the steering, I mean, it's pretty darty. And in terms of how it feels from like a light or heavy perspective, it definitely is a lighter steering rack. And the one thing that's interesting is I keep kind of like feeling these paddles, and it's a little bit weird that they don't move with the steering wheel. I'm so used to paddles moving with the steering wheel that since this one doesn't, it's definitely interesting. We actually get two little accelerations in this video. This first one I'm going to do in the automatic mode to see how it accelerates in automatic mode. Definitely takes a second to gear down, and yeah, that's interesting. I'm wondering if the manual mode's going to be a little bit better, but it sounded good. Like that V6 actually sounds really nice. I am very pleasantly surprised by that. It's good sounding for a V6 for sure. I'm over in the manual mode here. I'm gonna get a couple little downshifts with the car now. Yeah, the manual mode is way better than the automatic mode. And that's the same thing with the GTRs, which is kind of funny. But yeah, the manual mode is way better than the automatic mode. Okay, we're gonna get another acceleration here. Transmission's quick enough for the car. In terms of the acceleration, again, it's quick enough. It's not like crazy fast. If you did want crazy fast, obviously go for the GTR. But yeah, the acceleration is good enough. I imagine this is a lot more exciting with the manual transmission. However, this automatic transmission does get the job done. And I guess that's gonna lead me to summing things up for the video. If you're in the market for a kind of like middle type sports car, this is a very interesting car. It's not like a crazy lightweight sports car, but it drives like a lightweight sports car. And then at the same time, it's not like a muscle car, but then it kind of has more power like a muscle car. So it's in that weird in-between area. So I guess if you wanted a sports car and a muscle car, then this would be the one to go for. And that guy just totally ran a red light. So yeah, that's gonna cap off our driving portion. So there we have it, everyone, the all-new 2020 Nissan 370Z. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Tim Daly Nissan here in Murray, Utah for providing us with the 370Z. Check out their inventory in the link below if you're in the market for any type of Nissan. But as always, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, comment down below what you think, and then I will see all of you in that next video.